Architectural Builders Supply is pleased to present you with this recording of the technical question that is listed in the title of this video.
This call may be monitored and recorded for quality assurance.
And rail style door with a full light. So the existing hollow metal, they're hollow metal, they're steel. So the existing ones are actually like 4-piece stile and rail doors that are, the stiles are the rails are bolted to the stiles, like through bolted around the glazing. So
yeah, or welded, sure.
Yeah, well, there's like a seam. Like they're 15 years old. They're kind of actually getting a little loose in there, but yeah. So do you guys have that type of hollow metal door? Or can you get that type of hollow metal door?
Yeah,
where it's actually,
those doors are, stile and rail hollow metal is a fortune. Why
really?
Would you? Oh my goodness, why would you need that?
I need it because I got to match the existing building. That's my problem.
Well, why not just flush hollow metal with glass kits in them?
Well, I know the glass kits, they're usually 22 by, the exposed glass is 22 by 62 usually, right? Or 64?
Can be any size you want.
Well, these are 24 by 67. They're exposed glass 24 by 67 on a 3070 door.
It may be any size you want. It doesn't, 24 is it depends on your hardware. You might have a problem with the hardware you want to use because that's, exposed.
Well,
24.
These are mortise. It's a mortise lock set on these ones.
Yeah, so the bottom line is, stile and rail hollow metal. Yeah, no problem. I do not sell those often. That's for sure. I've been building for 17 years and I've never put one in. I put 1,000 hollow metal doors in. Well, realistically, you have to go back to the mid-20th century to really see that stuff, and they were called factory doors. And those doors are basically stile and rail, just like you would take 4-quarter lumber, glue it up together, run it through a planer, and run your stiles and rails on a shaper, and make a wood stile and rail. It's the same concept. But,
that's exactly what this is. It's in metal. It's in steel. I mean, I usually, in this situation where we're in our area, everybody uses aluminum storefronts like a Conair or something. That's what I usually do. But this development, I've even done developments for the same owner, and all his other developments are all Conair storefront doors. But this one was designed with these doors. So, could you do me a favor and give me a price for these stile and rail type doors? Because it seems like you know what you're one of the few people that actually does know what they are. My local suppliers all don't, So
they are uncommon, but each of these comes with a bay or aspirin because of how expensive they are. I mean, the list price. I'm just, you're going to be at $1,000 for a door without the glass. So just to break the ice, they're literally $1,000 and up. Absolutely. I mean, and then you got to get a glaze. Do you sell them with the glazing in it, or do I have to get an on-site glazer? Well, I mean, you're gonna. It's not practical to buy. I can sell you the glass. Is the bottom line. Separate shipment, the whole 9 yards. You'll have to have somebody caulk it and drop it in and put the glazing stop in. That's going to be glazed at the job site no matter what, regardless of who supplies the glass. That's going to happen at the job site. It ain't gonna. They won't ship with the glass in them. So
you're thinking 1,000 for the slab, for the stile and rail slab. You're around 1,000 a pop for a 30.
Yeah, $1,000 just to
how
get
much
in the
is a
door.
glazing kit? How much is a 67 by 24 glazing kit?
Well,
what would be your standard glass thickness?
Well, you want insole, so you want 1/2 inch or 1 inch, whatever it's going to be. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, half inch would be okay.
Yeah, I mean, if you're at a few $100s for a hollow metal door, and then you're going to add a glass kit, which is $300 or $400 to it, you get the frame, you get the glass, and you got the door shows up with a hole in it. It's easy work at that point.
Well, I'm okay with the 1,000 in that price range for the style because this owner is incredibly meticulous, and if it's any different than the other building, you catch my even the little lines in the door. He's going to see that there's no little lines in these doors.
And I'm all for that.
These are really high end buildings in a high end town, and he's very meticulous.
Yeah, well, I live in Naples, so, I mean,
Yeah.
this is the most expensive real estate in the United States. There's more billionaires in Florida than anywhere else in the United States. My point is simply this. What is the why? What is the justification to spend all that more money just for the hairline that you'll have between the stiles and rails, top and bottom? But
that in the way that also around the glass, if you do a regular flat hollow metal, you're going to have that trim that goes around it, right?
Not necessarily. You could get U-channel and hold it in with just rectangular stops. You would have a cutout. Yeah, you could do that if you wanted. I mean, it's.
Could you give me the price? Could you price it both ways so I could just look at it and evaluate it, and I could talk to the owner?
It would be something you would have to glaze in the field. I would provide you with a reinforced cutout, and then I would send you, 10-foot U-channel, and you would have to cut and miter all that, or however you're going to do it, and put it in. So it's really dependent on how much labor you want to do in the field and keeping it clean.
I mean, I have glazers. I can have somebody do it. That's okay.
Yeah.
But it's the frame. So can you send me? And you said you can provide the glass and ship it separate.
I can sell you glass, sure. So tell me.
Architectural Builders Supply hopes you have enjoyed this program. If you are enjoying this video, please click thumbs up or like, and also please consider subscribing to our channel. Let's move on to the rest of the video. So that conversation was about stile and rail doors that are hollow metal, and those are a manufactured item. They are literally stiles and rails that are assembled together, and that is what the door is basically built out of. And it's very interesting in the sense that there is a correlation or an analogy I think that you can make to wood stile and rail doors, where you will manufacture the stiles and the rails of the door, a mid-rail, the panels for that matter. In wood doors, when we would manufacture them, a client would be very, very clear about questioning, what does that mean, solid wood? Is it a big, giant, thick piece of solid wood, or can it be two or more pieces glued together? And we have made stile and rail doors that were solid, meaning there's nothing glued together, there's no veneer, there's no 1/4-inch wood over a particle board core. It's literally 8-quarter lumber that has been put through a planer and then put down the table saw and dimensioned to the size that you need. And then you have a shaper. You've got your bit set for the shaper for the stile and the bit set for the rail or the panel, whatever it's going to be, and you run these pieces through your shaper and get that profile so that you can join the pieces together. Two stiles, let's just say it's full glass for simplicity, top rail, bottom rail, pony clamp everything together with glue, and that's a stile and rail door. Hollow metal doors can't be run through a shaper, but they're going to be tube steel. That's not hollow. There'll be some sort of core inside of there. And then they're very likely going to either weld or mechanically fasten the stiles and rails together. You're going to have light designs in terms of the glass, but there'd be no reason why you couldn't have some sort of a panel design, obviously just 1/4-inch steel or some sort of possibly decorative concept that can be done. But the point is, if you have what's the point of the stile and rail door? Let's talk about that. If you've not hit subscribe yet, we would very much appreciate if you did, and hopefully you're enjoying this video. Now, let's get back to it. So the point of the stile and rail door, when you say stile and rail, you're meaning that there's going to be something in the center area of the door. The top and the bottom, or the entire center of the door, where you will have 5, 6, 8, 4-inch, whatever you want for the stiles, and the top rail. And the bottom rail is generally the top rail times 2.5, something like that, maybe times 3, or anything really. You can have a 6-inch top rail and a 12-inch bottom rail, 14, 10-inch, whatever you like. But the point of the stile and rail door is simply this. you're already assuming, considering something in the door, glass or panel. Okay, if you take a standard hollow metal door and you cut a big giant hole in it, you're removing almost all of the steel. Its ability to be durable at that point is exceptionally it's exceptionally compromised, in fact. So the point of the Stile and Rail hollow metal door is its absolute durability, because you're taking very thick steel and you are bolting it or you're welding it together. You're not taking very thin steel and cutting it all the way out, where now the sheets of the steel kind of flap there. When I do a large cutout, or when I do large cutouts, and depending on the application, I have the factory go back after they've jigsaw cut, or however it's done at whoever is doing it, weld channel back, and so you're giving some rigidity back to the unit. But there's just no way to get the same sort of structural integrity when it starts out as a piece of tubular steel. And we're going to look at Seco, because the client referenced Amweld. Well, Amweld's been out of business for 15 years for sure by this point, but they did make Stile and Rail doors. Seco is the go-to because they've got lots of published documentation. It's, you can view that, you can order that, we can see all of it. So the bottom line is, when you've got a sheet of steel here and a sheet of steel on the bottom of your door, and then you've got something happening in the edge, and then you jigsaw cut that, and that's all open, it's not as strong as a piece of tubular steel. Okay, even though it's 16 gauge, that's still very heavy for a door. 16 gauge is heavy duty commercial. There's only one gauge heavier than that. When it comes to hollow metal doors, that would be 14 gauge. You don't get them heavier than that in terms of a door, even though there are specialty manufacturers who can do it. So the bottom line is pure and simple. It's durability is why you'd want Stile and Rail. Let's switch to the screen view and let's look at the supporting documentation that we have. If you've made it this far into this video, you must be determined to see it through to the end, and we appreciate your hanging in there with us and watching this entire video. It means a lot. It takes a lot of work to create these videos, in the sense that it's time taken away from doing other things. However, the advantage for me personally of creating these videos is the fact that it does allow myself to either learn about something new, to reacquaint myself with something, or to reinforce what I believe that I already know. Any comments that you might leave down below would be greatly appreciated. Thank you. So first of all, the manufacturer's information on their website at secodoor.com. Stile and Rail doors are designed with an insulated tubular Stile and Rail construction and heavy-duty 16 gauge and continuously welded corners for the best in ruggedness, versatility, and functionality. So what they're saying is, and by the way, let's take a look at the photographs that the client has supplied to us. Now, you will recall that the client specifically mentioned about this hairline between the stiles and the rails, and the client mentioned that they were bolted together, and I think he may have said something about the integrity of the door being compromised by rust, but I don't recall. The concern is Seco has stated that those are welded, and yeah, okay, awesome. So I actually have I don't have much when it comes to Amweld because they've been out of business for so long. But Stile and Rail door design, Series 300. Okay, so let's see if we have anything else on that. Yeah, Stile and Rail 300 Series, A40 Galv, 16 gauge, true Stile and Rail, tubular construction, non-handed, full glass, 5.5-inch top stiles, 8-inch bottom rail, fully welded corners, flush top and bottom, meets SDI Level 3 Model 3. I can show you that. Actually, I'm going to forget if I don't show that to you right now. Let's go to stiledoor.org and let's pull up standards and then ANSI technical documents. It may be under specifications. Okay. There's a chart, but they're saying level 3 is... Yeah, I don't... This is not what I had in mind. Yeah, SDI 108-23 I think is what we want. Yeah, this looks better. So they're saying level 3, model 3. So they're basically saying this is going to be an extra heavy duty door, 16 gauge, and model 3 is going to be Stile and Rail. Stile and Rails are 16 gauge flush panels when specified, are 18 gauge. So that's the standard. It's almost the heaviest door that you can get your hands on in terms of gauge of door thickness. So that's what that refers to. And again, that's the document is the Steel Door Institute document 108. And it might be, yeah, 108-23. That's the year of publication. So special options are here. Now, the question really becomes, you know, this client doesn't have an Amwell door. That's just the bottom line. I mean, according to their documentation, it's not an Amwell door because they would have welded all that. So it's hard to say what that is. The client won't get that. Showing an image down here. As far as I'm concerned, you know, I don't believe that's sightly. These bolts for the closer body, that should not have been done. That should have been, I mean, they're Stile and Rail, but I would have reinforced that and drilled and tapped it. That's unsightly. You're clearly going for a clean look with this. So these lines, they obviously are the seams. That invites penetration of moisture. I would have welded that closed, making it far stronger. I would have welded in reinforcement, drilled and tapped, and then I would have mitered these stops. I would not have butt them like this. I would have mitered them. And then at that point, you're just cutting the 16 gauge steel for your hardware reinforcements. Is all you're doing. Not sure whose cylinder that is. I'm going to guess Sargent. The handle looks like their L lever. So that's the Stile and Rail in terms of what the client sent to us. Now, back to the manufacturer's catalog release, Seco. What we're going to have here now is some features. 1 3/4 thick, 16 gauge. They've got coal rolled, but you can do it in A60 galvanized, which is what you would want. Galvanizing is substantially inexpensive in terms of the overall cost, and it gives you a substantially greater amount of protection to the exposure of the general environment. Insulated tubular Stile and Rail, we'll see if we can come up with some tech data on that. Seamless edge design, sure. In the edge of the door, there's no seam like you'd have on a typical hollow metal door because it's a piece of tubular steel. They're handed in the sense that they're going to prep the hinges such that the door becomes handed, and because they're full glass, half glass, or rail designs, your top and bottom rails or a mid rail, it's going to make it a handed door, even though they're going to be square edge doors. Fiberglass core, got it, so they're stuffing fiberglass down inside of there. And that's probably what I would know as mineral rock wool, is what I would call that. Maximum size 4x8, 8x8 pairs, sure, it's tubular steel, and boy, if you got yourself 3/16 solid tube and made your own, you could make some big doors. They're going to be primed. They can do fire rated. 7 gauge hinge reinforcement. 7 gauge is really thick. It might be 3/16. But that would make sense because, yeah, 7 gauge is 3/16. So really, really thick. That makes sense because you're dealing with 18 gauge thick doors. Pardon me, 16 gauge. Here you go, providing the absolute best in ruggedness, versatility, and functionality for entrances or exits. Again, cold rolled or galvanized, full glass or full glass over panels, mid rails, things of that nature. Let's see what else we have going here. Regarding the links to ads that you might see in this video, we do apologize for any interruption to a smooth viewing experience, and hopefully the ads that are being presented to you are related to the base product. And if there is something, feel free to click on those and perhaps consider taking a look at what that other advertiser is promoting. Let's get back to the video. Specifications. Now this is something that you would insert into the construction documents. So if you're specifying this, you're basically saying to someone, this is the criteria that needs to be adhered to. Application, yeah, we talked about that. Entrance doors, cross-corridor doors, multi-resident, retail, entertainment, hospitality, healthcare, commercial and corporate. Door designs, 2 lights, 3 lights, or full glass. Now, there'd be nothing stopping you from dropping a panel into that, but that's not very decorative. And they emboss steel when you want panels. Finishes, they're going to do prime coat, even though the factory will likely entertain requests for custom painting or finishing. Documentation, technical information. Oh, great. Yeah, awesome. Yeah, this is in the tech manual, and I am grateful that they made it really easy to find that without me having to go through the tech manual. This is it. Yeah, beautiful. 1 3/4 TX stile and rail. Oh, it's beveled. I said earlier that they were square edge. So those are bevel doors. That absolutely makes it a handed door. Absolutely. Neat. So, yeah, they must be bending the steel somehow and welding the back side of it. Exceptionally strong tubular stile and rail construction with an aesthetically attractive design for entrance exit with full vision. 16 gauge seamless, flush glazing, corners continuously welded, and ground smooth. So you're not going to get it any other way. What the client has, again, it's a mystery. Full glass, 2 glass, glass over panel, 2 panel, 3 glass, 4 glass. Those lines are a tip-off that they're glass. Giving you hardware locations depending on the door height for standard. You can extrapolate those out. If you had 7'6", you could literally, add 2 inches to the top hinge and 4 inches to the bottom hinge, that kind of thing. Astragals if you're dealing with pairs. Closure reinforcement they're referring to on the inside. Standard stile and rail sizes, 5 5/8 is going to be your standard, with optional sizes, smaller and larger. Optional center rail if you're doing a 2 glass, panel over glass, 3 glass, 4 glass. Reinforcing down at the bottom they're showing you in terms of the construction with these hat channels. So basically it's a steel stiffened door down here is what it is. Now what's really interesting about this is this is not tube steel. This is stuff that they're bending, because this is an integrated stop inside of here, and then that's loose channel that they put here. That's all loose channel that you will screw, you'll attach with probably self-drilling screws. Hinge prep, block prep, showing you what's the story here and here. Yeah, an alternative way for 13/16 glass when you've got insulated glass. So that trim is going to look different. So when you have 1/4 inch clear tempered, or whatever product you're using, you'll have this. So the fact that the client's images showed, well, no, we don't know what it is. We don't know what's on the inside. We saw the outside. So for insulated glass, for 1 inch insulated glass, It's going to look like this with that offset channel that's there. Specification data, great. Extremely helpful to have all that data. Below that, request information, awesome. So the bottom line is, let's wrap up this video on camera. So at the end of the day, that's what a Stile and Rail door is today. Now the term factory door, I can tell you, is an absolute accurate term that is used by, or was used by, companies like Seco would have used that term for sure. Pioneer certainly would have used that term. And I don't know if I have an old catalog from Pioneer, because yeah, I'm looking to see if I do. Yeah, I only really have a brochure. Pioneer is a manufacturer of hollow metal they're in New Jersey, I believe. Yeah, they don't use the term factory door. But the way that I know factory door is extremely heavy steel. That's going to be a panel design of some type. You'll see them like in the, west of the Loop in Chicago, where there's all industrial, and companies were hardware companies. In fact, many of them. Rixson was basically at Costner and Carroll, or just east of Cicero. I don't know what 100 North Carroll would have been or is, but don't quote me, but 400 North and 4400 West, big giant brick buildings and factory doors on the outside. And if you Google factory door, you're going to see doors manufactured of steel and a lot of welding and things of that nature. So I think of doors like this as factory doors, even though they're a modern version of the factory door, where you've got components put together. Okay. So anyway, any questions on the Stile and Rail door, please feel free to reach out to us. One thing to state in support of the factory door is that, as we've stated, extremely durable, but also they're exceptionally recyclable. All that steel, the overwhelming majority of the content of the steel eventually will end up in another factory style door, or in a car, or in a motor. Steel is so very recyclable. When you make the decision for that type of door, you're not only getting something very rugged, but something that's not going to grossly impact the footprint of the environment. Aluminum is highly recyclable as well, but there's really no comparison between the strength and rigidity of steel versus aluminum. Now, aluminum's non-ferrous. Steel obviously is ferrous. If you go with galvanized, you're not going to really worry about rusting. And in my opinion, get yourself a factory finished door, or I would personally use an oil-based exterior paint, and I would have no concern over rust happening with proper maintenance. Aluminum doors, they're all held together by fasteners, and they don't stay together as well as a welded hollow metal door, in my opinion. And it could also be because I don't sell aluminum doors. Any questions on the Stile and Rail, please feel free to reach out to us. Thank you. Again, thank you for watching, and if you've enjoyed this video, please click thumbs up, please subscribe, and maybe even send the video to someone that you know. Thank you.